Welcome to Loco Gringo, Mexico, where we can take you beyond the usual on your vacation. Each week we talk with amazing locals who know the Riviera Maya and Yucatan like only locals can. Get real tips to real places, insights on the local scene, culture, and cuisine from a local's perspective. So pour yourself a margarita, mezcal, or tequila, grab yourself a comfy chair, and let's get the show going.
Hola everybody, welcome to Loco Gringo, Mexico. My name's Kay Walton, I'm your host. So glad you're tuning in today. Thanks for listening. We're going to be talking to Tony Schaefer, and Tony Schaefer's heart is into paddleboarding. He's paddleboard all over here in the Riviera Maya, and he has a project he's working on in honor of a friend of his who had passed away, who died of a very specific type of cancer. But Tony's going to talk about his project, his event, where he envisions, or he's going to do it. I know he's going to do it. He's going to paddle the entire coastline of the Riviera Maya from Cancun. So Tony's going to share some of his thoughts and ideas and passions about this event that he's putting together. Also, he's going to share some of the things that he loves, that he believes will open your eyes to a more authentic experience here in the Riviera Maya. This episode is brought to you by Playa. You know, lots of people ask us for information and help when it comes to real estate, whether they're looking for retirement, an investment property, or maybe they're looking to relocate to the area. And we refer them over to our friends at Playa. The folks at Playa we've known for years, and they'll make sure that you, the buyer, are fully protected and informed when it comes to buying real estate. So if you're looking to buy a piece of paradise, check out our friends at buyplaya.com. Hey, Tony, buenos dias. How are you?
Bien, ¿y usted qué?
Muy bien, gracias. Wow, I'm so thrilled to have you on the show. Thanks so much. I'm glad the Rotary Club hooked us up.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm thankful to the Rotary Club for doing it, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here and talk about paddling in this wonderful paradise that we live in.
Excellent. Well, what kind of where did you come from? I mean, a lot of us will talk about people and where you obviously from your accent are not a native person, a native Mexican here. Where did you hail from?
I hailed from Nuevo Mexico, from New Mexico in the United States.
Really? I was going to guess. I thought your accent sounds Canadian.
Well, you know, we don't use A in New Mexico. We say things like "orale" or something, you know, but we don't say A. So it's like, no, I'm not from Canada. I'm from southern part of New Mexico, from a small town called Mesilla. There's about 2,000 people in it. So I grew up in I'm a desert rat. That's where we came from.
And why did you come to Old Mexico from New Mexico?
Well, my wife, she hails from Los Angeles and grew up on the beach. And so we, you know, anytime we took vacation, we would always look for, you know, beach. And so as we got older, I started looking for a place that, you know, we could call our home, but it had to be on a beach. And we just happened to be in Mexico on one of our trips, and took a side trip because I'd read an article in the Miami Herald about Puerto Aventuras. So we stopped through and just fell in love with the place, and actually we bought a piece of property on that very trip. So it was just one of those things. It was just serendipity. It all worked out, and we've enjoyed it ever since.
That's awesome. Now, how long have you been here?
Permanent residents, this is our 5th year. Mm-hmm. We purchased here, I want to say 2002, in that range. I don't remember.
Okay. A while back then.
A while.
Very nice. And what did you find, you know, I know so many of our listeners think about, you know, doing just following in your footsteps, going, okay, great. I want to live on the beach or discover a new culture and pack it up and move to a new country. What were some of was it really easy? Did you have some challenges?
Oh, back then it was a different world. Mexico has changed so much. The laws have changed. The government has changed so much since then. And at the time that we first bought it, it could be a very sketchy affair. In fact, it was for us. We spent, I would say, almost a year trying to get title straightened out on our property. It was a little nerve-wracking. But once that was all done, then, things became easy. But now it's a different world. Now things are much more, they're much more like they are in the United States or Canada, where it's regimented and you actually have licensed real estate agents, and the government is used to doing these things, and much of the fraud that used to take place down here is really kind of gone. I mean, it's a lot of the bad apples have been weeded out. So it's a much easier place to buy in now than it was then.
And what did you have any challenges kind of assimilating? I mean, did you come with the big question everybody will ask, did you know any Spanish when you came?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, growing up in New Mexico, and then my last business, we had a civil contracting firm. We built roads and utility lines, and we did stuff like that. And as a matter of necessity, you had to be able to speak Spanish. So my Spanish was pretty good. It's improved a lot since I've been here. My wife doesn't speak virtually any at all, but it really hasn't posed any kind of a problem, because more and more through time, the local people here have really taken up English. So it's very difficult if you're strictly an English only speaker. It's really no barrier at all. Mm-hmm. So.
No, it definitely has gotten easier over the years. And so what do you and your wife do? I mean, are you working out here in the Riviera Maya? Are you strictly retired and you spend your days diving and fishing, or what's your typical day like now?
Well, I'm pretty much retired, so I spend my day on my paddleboard or swimming. Annette is still working. She works with a real estate firm in Playa and really enjoys it. So she has her daily routine, and I have mine.
Well, that's nice. And she can come, "Hey, honey, I'm home from work." I mean, it just gives a little bit of separation. I know, sometimes if you're both sitting under the same roof and stuff 24/7, it gets you can make each other a little crazy, or you can make her crazy probably.
Well, yeah, it is nice. I mean, the old adage is that familiarity breeds contempt. So Annette gets out of the house enough, so it's, we get to the point where absence makes the heart grow fonder, and then everything works out.
So I had heard through the grapevine that you're into paddleboarding, and you have a paddleboarding event coming up that you're planning. And I wanted to get, it really touched my heart when I heard some of the details about it. And I wanted to, if you would share with everyone who's listening, about your upcoming paddle and about paddleboarding. I'm not a big paddleboarder myself, but I know a lot of people are. So if you could share about your activity, your passion for paddleboarding and this event, that'd be great.
Sure. No, we used to come down here to Mexico. It started out a week at a time, and then it was 2 weeks, and then it was 3 weeks. But I typically discovered that after sitting on the beach for about 3-4 days, and that was about all I could take. I needed something to do. And I was sitting on the beach one day, and I see this guy take off down the beach, and he's just like, it almost looked like he was walking on the water. I'd never seen it before. I mean, he was on a paddleboard, but I'd never seen such a thing. And I thought, dang, it looks just too cool. So it took us quite a while to find a way to buy a paddleboard down here. But we finally, we got 2 paddleboards shipped in. I bought it, my friend Tony Johnson and we bought 2 paddleboards together. That way everybody could paddle. And for me, it was like, how do you say it? It was It was just love at first sight. There was something about it that just, it just lit my fire. It did it for me. And so that was about, I want to say 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. So once we moved down here full time, then I started paddling every day. I got kind of serious about it. And I like the idea of, getting out of the bay here. We live in Puerto Aventuras. We live here on Fatima Bay, which is a gorgeous bay. We have a barrier reef that's about, maybe a half a kilometer offshore. And so I wanted to get out of the bay and just try something. And so I started doing little jaunts up and down the coast. And then finally one day I thought, you know what? I'm going to take the board and I'm going to paddle down to Akumal, which is, almost 20K down the coast. And so I did, and it was just a gas. It was I used to run, so it was kind of like doing a half marathon or something. Mm-hmm. But it just, I enjoyed it so much. And so through time, I tried longer routes, I tried different routes, and then finally I broke down and bought a really nice touring board. I got a Bic, it's called an Ace Tech Wing, and it's an excellent board for the conditions that we have here. And so then I started thinking, if I can do that, I wonder what else I can do. I want to do something else. So I started going up the coast and then coming down, and I got this idea of paddling the whole Riviera Maya. I wanted to do a trip from Cancun all the way south. And so piece by piece, I put the trip together. And that was kind of like, that's kind of my paddling story. But my good friend, Tony Johnson, that I bought the boards with, 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma.
And what is that?
It's a very aggressive brain cancer.
Oh, okay.
It typically forms up in a tumor. The treatment typically is the same. They'll go in, surgically remove the tumor, and then hope for the best. But typically, once the tumor is removed, within a short period of time, it comes back with a vengeance. And so Tony tried everything that was available to him. He was a very successful guy in life. And so he was able to travel to Germany to get treatments. He was fortunate in that he was a Calgarian. And he was fortunate that the University of Calgary has an excellent medical school and oncology department. And, it just, his attitude about life was just so inspiring to me, that in the face of this, death sentence, that he could keep so positive. It was incredible. So he decided about, I think it was, he had the cancer for about a year. And then he decided that, he had to do something. So he made a commitment to raise $1 million for cancer research at the University of Calgary. And this was all unbeknownst to me. I had no idea at the time. But Tony put his mind to it, and he started working on it, and he raised $500,000. He got halfway to his goal before he died. And so shortly after the fact, it was about 20 minutes into the new year, he died. And his wife and I decided that, we just couldn't let it go. I decided I had to take up this cause, and I really wanted to go ahead. We made up our minds, we're going to go ahead and raise the other $500,000 for cancer research. And, I'm trying to think how are we going to do this? I don't have a whole lot of money. And so it wasn't something where I could just write a check for $500,000 and, be shut of it. And that's where we came up with this idea of tying a paddle race from Cancun down the coast to raise funds for cancer research to hit Tony's goal.
Wow, that's awesome! And is it a race, or are you just doing this kind of as a solo journey?
Well, it started out, Kay. My thinking was, it was a big challenge, and it was something I wanted to do just to commemorate Tony's life. Mm-hmm. And then we came up with the idea of tying it to research. And so my thinking was that I was just going to go ahead and do it, make it a grand adventure, achieve this for Tony. But through the course of time and just talking to people around here, more and more people started approaching me saying, "Hey, man, I want to do part of it. I want to get out there and paddle with you." And so now we're toying with the idea of actually making this into an event. We've got strong support in Calgary. We've got strong support in the United States, the strong paddling community in Calgary. We have a lot of friends in Newport Beach, California. So there's also a strong paddling community here. You typically don't see them, but there is up in Playa in Cancun. There's a group of younger people that are really dedicated to the sport and have done some phenomenal things. And so I'm hoping, I'm really appreciative that the Rotary Club was able to hook us up. And my hope is that I'm going to be able to convince the Rotary Club and then other local community organizations here to support the idea of making it into an annual event just to showcase this paradise. We have local events here in Puerto Aventuras. There are in Playa, there are in Cancun, but there's really nothing that ties everything together. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm going to be doing the event. It doesn't make any difference to me whether it's, there's 100 people or it's just me. I'm going to be doing this. We set a date, January 1 of 19, to coincide with Tony's death. So come January 19, I'm going to be heading out from Cancun, coming down the coast, and we're hoping that there will be people with us, and we're hoping that it will be a real event. It's a lot of work, Kay. I mean, it's one thing to get ready to do a paddle trip like that, but to organize an event with follow boats and safety gear and stop, all of that, it's a completely different affair. And so we'll just have to see how things go. The way things have gone so far, the support from the community has been outstanding. And so I kind of have a feeling we're going to end up with an event. But that's kind of where we stand.
Wow, that's incredible. I can't imagine the everything that you're going to see along the coast. Now, it begs the question. I've walked certain sections of the coastline. I've flown the coast in a plane and everything like that, and seen some really interesting things. What are some of the really cool things that you've seen as you've been paddling up and down the coast?
It's one of the great things about stand-up paddling. I'm 70 years old, and for me, it's as a former runner, it's like it's a perfect platform for fitness. There's no stress on your joints. It's a complete body workout. You're out there all by yourself. Your mind is free. You don't have any clutter. There's nothing to distract you. And it allows me to really get into, for lack of a better phrase, let you get into the zen of things out there, and the things, Kay, it's from the perspective, I'm 6 feet tall. So from the perspective of 6 feet off the water, you actually see more, than if you're snorkeling. So, it's turtles, eagle rays, whale shark, game fish, coral, going down the coast, you pass little Mayan ruins that are there, like just a little trading post that was set up, a little one-room casa, that has been there for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible. The view from the water, looking back at the coast, is so radically different than it is when you're standing on the coast looking out at the water. When you look at the ocean, everything looks the same. It's just a huge expanse of sea. But when you're on the ocean looking back to the coast, you see, you get a real sense of the difference. You go through areas where it's mostly like mangrove swamp, or you hit, there's a lot of the coast that is nothing but rock. Other areas, you have big, huge, wide, sandy beaches. Some of them developed, some of them not. So, it gives you the opportunity to see this coast from a perspective that most people never would, not unless you were out on a boat or out on a paddleboard. But it's just, it's hard to describe. The sense of freedom, growing up in New Mexico and then, being there, my deal was horses. I was always on horseback. And I really appreciated the perspective that you gain moving through, trails, mountains, whatever, on a horse. But here it's just completely different because the horse is really a board, but instead of sitting there and letting the horse do the work, you're kind of providing, you have to provide the locomotion. Yeah. And it's a great sport. Great sport.
And now, does it? And you can tell I'm a total don't know a lot about paddleboarding except what I see people out on the water. Is it a big balance thing?
It's like it kind of is, but it's kind of like riding a bike. I remember when I first tried riding a bike, I fell. You're struggling for balance, but then there comes that moment where everything kind of kicks in, and all of a sudden now you have your balance, and then everything works for you. And the same thing holds true with being on the paddleboard. It's gotten to the point now where I don't really pay attention to waves and swells. I do, but it's not a front of the mind thing. It's just kind of something that happens. So it gets to the point once you hit a fitness level where you can actually move about out there, it gets to the point where it just really becomes second nature. It's like that muscle memory takes over, and you become very, very comfortable on the board, just like you would be if you were walking on, terra firma.
Yeah, no, your bike analogy is perfect. It makes sense.
Yeah, it is. When I remember when I first started paddling, and I do instruction out here, and I see the same thing in people who first start out. The first few days, the first week, 2 weeks that I was on the paddleboard, my lower legs, my God, it would be like you'd be out there and your legs are just quivering, just quivering, and you think, oh my God, I can't, But through time, you just get to the point where you relax a little, and once you do, then it just becomes so much easier, and then you got the whole world out there. So it's really something. I've taught people that are older than me, and I've had young kids on the board. I've had really big, overweight people, and I've had very thin people. It's something that pretty much everybody can do if you just set your mind to do it, and you have a board and a place where you can get out and paddle.
Huh? I might have to have you take me out one day and see if and give me a lesson.
You'd love it, I'm sure.
I would maybe. I really might like it. I'm not sure. Wow, it's really interesting. Now you have your endurance that you've built up since you've been paddling for a while. When it comes to your big paddle down from Cancun, how many days do you think it's going to take from Cancun to paddle down the coastline?
My goal is 2 days.
Wow.
2 days, I've got to be able to do pretty much a marathon a day. But I think that that's reasonable. So it's, 2 days. I'm going to go up, I'm actually going up to Cancun tomorrow. I've done the segment coming down from Playa del Carmen to Akumal, which is a marathon. That's about 25 miles. Mm-hmm. And what I need to do now is do the northern section. So I'm going to do that hopefully starting tomorrow. I'm going to go up to Cancun, leave Cancun, paddle down to Puerto Morelos, and then we'll see. I may hang out there for an hour or two and then continue on down the coast. But it's, probably at the outside 3 days, depending on the weather. Mm-hmm. So if we have good winds and we have nice seas, then it's like 2 days. And if we have adverse conditions, it'll be probably 3.
And for your nights on land, are you looking for a hotel sponsor, or are you going to be pitching a tent wherever you happen to make landfall?
Well, the pitching the tent will come in later adventures. No, right now we're either I'm gonna have my wife pick me up wherever I end up and bring me home, and then I'll go back in the morning, or more likely I'm just going to work out something with a hotel right there on wherever my stop is, and then just spend the night there, so it's easy to get going in the morning without having to drive back and forth.
Makes sense.
So it depends, Kay, if we're as time goes by and we work this event idea more. Ideally, if we're going to have more than, if it's going to be more than me paddling and it's actually going to be an event, then we'll have stops along the coast, and hopefully it'll be major resorts who want to showcase their properties, and. So we'll see. We'll see. Initially, like I said, my idea was simply just to go ahead and do the event, just to honor a life well lived in a perfect death. But, if that's what it is, then I'm just going to go and do it. But that, like I said, time will tell. It depends on how much support we're able to draw. And I'll keep you posted. No,
I definitely want to keep up on the event, and I'll let you. I want to talk about some of your favorite stuff here on the coastline, but first, while we still are on the event, and we have lots of listeners that are both people who want to visit the area, but a lot of listeners who are also here in the Riviera Maya. Are you looking for any sort of talent, help? Do you want to mention what you could use, or if you're looking for an event planner, is there anything like that you want to put out on the airwaves? So if someone wants to lend a hand and help you pull this together, is there any specific need?
Right now, to be honest with you, I don't have a mechanism even to, follow up. We're trying to get organized. We have a group of 4 or 5 people that are working to try to pull this thing together. Like I said, my great hope is that we're going to be able to interest the Rotary Club in doing it, because they have expertise, and once they have a lot of members, they have a point of contact, and those are things that we're just struggling with right now. I'm all thumbs when it comes to technology. I'm lucky that I was able to answer the phone when you called. So, it makes it a little bit difficult. If there's people here in the Riviera Maya, I'm typically out on the water most every day. So it's not hard to find me. Most people here in Puerto Aventuras either know me or know of me. But through time, Kay, I'll keep you posted. I'll send emails so that once we get to the point where we actually have an organization with a point of contact and we're looking for specific things, I'd be absolutely pleased and thrilled to follow up with you, because I'm certain that there are people out there. We need follow boats, for example. And I'm certain that there are people here in Puerto Aventuras that have boats, but I just don't know who they are and haven't, at this point in time, haven't reached out to them. So I'll have to keep you posted on it.
Well, that's great. Yes, please keep me posted. One great contact there in Puerto Aventuras, we interviewed him. He was a guest on our podcast, is Captain Quickie, if you know Quickie.
Yeah, I know Quickie.
Quickie's a great resource. He does some great tours. Give a little plug there for Quickie, and you might want to reach out to him. He may have some good ideas and some good resources, especially when it comes to boats. Yep,
absolutely. It would be great if we could have that nice big catamaran that he rides around and follow
exactly. He'd be at the finish line waiting with a cerveza for you.
Absolutely. No, Quickie's a good guy. He's a good friend.
Tony, I ask every guest that is on the show, what are some of your recommendations for people who are considering coming to the area or have plans to come to the area, things that they can do or see or eat or something that's going to give them a more authentic experience?
Gosh, I mean, the options are so many.
But a few of your faves.
There's a great hotel right on the plaza in Valladolid that is wonderful. It's an old casita with it has a courtyard, and they made the restaurant right around the courtyard. So
is that Marquis de Maison or Maison de Marquis?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great one. It's a great day trip. We love going to Uxmal. It's just, I mean, for people who are like planning a trip here and they want to go maybe to Chichen Itza, people call it the seventh wonder of the world, and it's a great place. But typically the crowds there are like Disneyland, and just outside of Mérida, you have Uxmal, which is, I mean, it is absolutely it is just one of the most stunning things that I've ever seen. It's Mayan architecture on a grand scale, but you can still walk around on the property. Very little of it is fenced off. They do have people there to, how would you say, like protect it, to make sure that you don't have idiot tourists like trying to scale the pyramid. But it's just a phenomenal site. We took a trip over into Chiapas to see the waterfalls over there. That
very nice.
Was incredible. Just
you went
incredible.
to Cenote Azul, or is it?
Yes.
Is it Cenote Azul?
I think it's Rio Azul. So
I'm trying to. I can't. I've been there, and the name. I know it's Azul something. It's been so long.
Yes.
The memory starts going as you get older a little bit.
Yeah, but no, for ethnic cuisine, we just go across the street into the poblado on the other side of the highway, and the little taco stands, the antojitos, everything that we eat over there regularly. I've never had any, stomach issues or anything like that. The food is absolutely local. You get everything from cochinita pibil to, tamales in the banana leaves, mole. It's just fun. It's an absolute good time. And you see the stuff being made right there in front of you. So if you're a cook or you like doing kind of stuff like that, you can actually see how they're doing it, as opposed to trying to look in a cookbook and try to find something. But that's. Do
you have names of any specific restaurants? I know I used to eat at El Tigre. I'm not sure if it's still there.
I don't know if it's still there either. They change fairly regularly. So they're just, they line the street. It's easy to find them. You just go from one to the other to the other. A taco is like, 13 pesos? So, for under $1, you're going to get a taco. For under $5, you'll have a complete meal. It's great. It's just great great food. So I would highly recommend that to everybody. Plus, it's instead of supporting, resort, we like supporting the local community. We're here and we thoroughly enjoy the Mayan culture, the Mayan people. It's part of what makes living here so interesting, so vibrant. But that's what we like.
Yeah, no, we always try to encourage people to eat local and shop local, because it's good. Not only is it good for the local economy, but it really gives people that experience that they're not going to get at a buffet line, or something different. You don't need to come to Mexico to eat cheeseburgers. So come and indulge in the local cuisine because it's fabulous. Have a shrimp taco.
Absolutely. No, that's like I said, that's something that we do on a regular basis. It just I love to cook. We had a restaurant and a bar for 20 years. I love to cook, and I really enjoy it. But regularly, we've got to get out and get our little taco fix. So,
do you have a favorite restaurant on the marina in Puerto Aventuras?
Frankly, we like the pub. There's it's always, always good. It's always consistent. It's always, there. And there's a new one, Naughty Burrito, that my wife just loves. So
the Naughty Burrito.
We're from New Mexico, so we love hot chili. We're into,
Me too.
we like that chili cuisine, and the Naughty Burrito has the closest to green chili that I'm used to, that I've ever found down here. It's really, really good. So there's a plug for two of them.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't eaten in Puerto Aventuras in years because I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just ready to go home. But that's good to know. The Naughty Burrito. We'll have to check it out and do a restaurant review for them.
Yeah, they're great. They have great smoothies, and burrito. They have great burritos. And it's typically something you don't find down here. In New Mexico, everything was flour tortillas. You made enchiladas with corn tortillas, but, the big thing was flour tortillas, beans, chili, have a burrito. But down here, everything is corn. It's the Maya, or the people of the corn. And so, there's all kinds of tortillerias here that make nothing but corn tortillas. So even trying to find flour tortillas is a challenge. But they make a hell of a burrito.
Now, have you tried Cafe Caribe, which is right there on the highway by the overpass?
Yes, we have.
At zero gravity?
Yes, we have.
Because I love their baked goods.
Yes. No, we enjoy it. We enjoy the place a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not a diver, so I don't hang out at zero gravity. But the baked goods there are excellent.
Yeah, there for a great cup of coffee and some wonderful, authentic French pastries and breads and everything. It's definitely one of my favorites. And of course, I do know the guys at the dive shop, and they turned me on to it. They said, "Oh, come in." It came when they opened, and that's just a great addition to Puerto Aventuras because you can stop. It's really easy to get to because it's right there on the highway.
Yep, absolutely. And with the number of cenotes we have here, we spent one summer. We decided we wanted to just go check out cenotes. And I was stunned at the number of unbelievable cenotes that exist just right up and down the highway here. As you get off, even heading off into the jungle, there are some incredible cenotes. And that's where I think zero gravity has really, how do you say, their claim to fame. With their cenote diving, cave diving, and all all that. But it's, I mean, some of the cenotes here are just, I've never seen anything like it anywhere. And they're just absolutely stunningly beautiful.
Now, this is the mecca for cenotes and underwater caves. I mean, there's nowhere else in the world. I think it's a very unique geological formation. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's the one that came to mind. A geological feature that we have here. There are, there's sinkholes up in Florida, but not to the extent that we have here in the Riviera Maya. We have the largest underwater cave system, just down in the Tulum area. So that's really nice. But yeah, the cenotes, I think, are a really unique experience for people that come into the Riviera Maya to experience, to check out, have a swim, and to experience, because it's really beautiful.
Yeah, especially in the hot summer when it's it's hot outside and you're thinking, man, I'd like to get cold for a moment.
Exactly.
The water is just, it's so refreshing. But yeah, it's incredible.
So Tony, if people want to contact you to find out more about your event, or maybe they may have some questions about Puerto Aventuras, or maybe recommendations on paddleboarding in the area, is there a way people can reach you?
Yeah, I started a Facebook page last year, and we're using it as the primary point of dissemination.
Great.
For information about, this trip and paddling. It's called Paddler's Life.
Paddler's Life, okay.
You just check out Paddler's Life. I try to post, at least once a week, updates on the trip, things that I see, conditioning routine that I'm going through, contact information for the fundraising. We have the link to the University of Calgary for anybody who's interested in making a donation. Plus, if you hit the link at the University of Calgary, you can tie right into Dr. John Kelly's research and find all about glioblastoma, the latest research, technology breakthroughs, etc., as they're working through their end of the thing. But yeah, Paddler's Life.
Excellent.
That would be the best way. I try to get back to people when I get comments, or I get people requesting information, whatever. I try to get back within a reasonable period of time. So that would be the best one, Kay.
All right, wonderful. Well, we'll have a link on today's show notes for people to find Tony and reach out to him on Facebook. Tony, this has been a delight chatting with you, and we wish you the best of luck. And I definitely want to hear, as things progress, if you can keep us updated on your event and your mission to paddle down the coastline. It sounds very exciting.
Well, Kay, I'll send you an email when we get off the air with the link to the University of Calgary
Awesome.
Site. But you can also, like I said, all you have to do is check out the Paddler's Life Facebook page, and everything is right there. So
Right.
I really, really appreciate the opportunity that you've afforded me to talk about paddling and about my life here in paradise, and about my friend Tony Johnson and our quest to raise the balance of his goal to defeat glioblastoma. So
it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, and I certainly will keep in touch. My best to you and all of your listeners.
Oh, thanks. Well, are you inspired now to move down here? Do you want to move down here and have a little place of your own? Well, then you need to talk to our friends at By Playa. They have a friendly and knowledgeable international staff. They speak lots of languages, and they are known as being a buyer's agent. Well, what does that mean? That means they are only going to show you and sell you properties they know that have escrituras. An escritura is a title. And it's part of their due diligence to make sure the title is clear, there's no liens, and that the person who's selling the property is actually the owner. By Playa works with lawyers that specialize in fideicomisos, which is a Mexican trust. You may have heard of it already before. And they can address things such as capital gains problems immediately and right up front. so that you have no surprises along the way to closing. So contact our friends at Buy Playa at buyplaya.com. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in today. But before you take off, I just want to remind you today's show notes can be found at locogringo.com/podcast. And we're going to have a link over to Paddler's Life, Tony's Facebook page. So if you want to reach out to Tony in regards to paddleboarding in the area with maybe some of his recommendations, information about his event and paddling the entire coastline, please reach out to him. We love the Riviera Maya and Yucatan, and we really think you will too, which is why we continually put all this great information out there. If you have any questions, you can always email me, sk@locogringo.com.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe. For links, show notes, and more information, head on over to locogringo.com or give us a call toll-free at 800-478-0081.
Porque se tragó la luna, estaba enferma la rana. Su madre soba que soba, dedos de pluma la panza. Pensó ranita que luna era una toronja blanca. Y aunque la luna es de leche, la leche estaba cortada. Croa, croa, dedos de pluma. Croa, croa, dedos de agua.